Hi, welcome to this week's set of devotionals beginning today, Monday. This is number 222. We're going to be a while getting through the scriptures, and that's okay. The scriptures are a book that is intended right from the very beginning, as it was being kind of written and collected. This was a book intended to be meditated on, to be read through, and then you go back and you see, oh, there's things that were kind of in seed form earlier on, and now they're being unpacked, or you see different nuances. We are to be a people shaped by Jesus, and this is a book all about Jesus. Even sometimes it's hard for us to kind of filter through some of the cultural stuff, and there's different genres, but this is why we read it in community. So again, hope this is being helpful for you in understanding or just kind of processing scripture. And again, we're going at a surface level often. We're skimming the surface. There's so much that's here. Joshua chapter 9. Some Canaanites submit to Israel. Now, this is after, again, right, Jericho and Ai, they've been defeated, and there's a number of city-states that they go, hold on a second, there's this people group, they conquered Jericho. That was probably the bigger deal, but Ai now, which is a small place, and they're going to band together to fight. But one city-state, and you think kind of, just kind of a region around that, they decide to take another route. So this town, the city-state of Gibeon, they use deception. So they get a few of their people from the town, put them in rattier clothes, give them old food, basically make it look like they've traveled a long way. They've come from a distance because they knew that Yahweh, the God of these people, of these tribes that are coming into the land, that Yahweh had decreed, look, this is your promised land to the Israelites, and you are to destroy the people of the land. You're here to take over. And again, they would have seen what happened to Jericho and gone, how are we going to face this? So they figured conflict isn't going to be the way for us to survive. Deception, that's going to be the way. And now, interestingly, they're actually expressing confidence, faith. They're not allegiance yet, but at least this understanding that Yahweh is a powerful God, because they're taking these actions. And so they go and say, hey, we've come from a long distance. We want to make a treaty with you because we know you guys are powerful and your God is powerful. And the leaders, the people of Israel here, they go, hey, you want to make a treaty with us? You looks like you've come from a long distance. Yes, we'll make a treaty with you. And so a treaty is made. Now, we're going to see that Israel makes them servants, though they could go, and they did go to the altar of the Lord. So they were included in being able to access the temple. This is important here. These are Gentiles. These are non-Jews who are given access. They're not part of the priesthood, but then again, neither are 11 of the 12 tribes. In fact, Levi's kind of its own kind of thing. So, there's, the other tribes apart from Levi couldn't go as part of the priesthood. And so Gibeon is given this inclusion. Now, I want to say something about this kind of phrase or this idea of total destruction, depending on the translation you're reading. That's the phrase that's used. But was God kind of orchestrating, was God calling for a complete genocide here? And the answer, if we do any kind of reading beyond kind of very, very surface and any kind of reflection, the answer is actually obviously, no, not at all. Because there's multiple times in the accounts of Joshua and in the Old Testament where we read about a people being destroyed. And then if you go on, a number of chapters later, or kind of another book later, and kind of historically, you see this people group, or you see people in this town. And so again, this is a cultural phrase. This is cultural language where we see it throughout actually ancient worldviews and ancient cultures of this era. It's kind of a phrase that's kind of exaggerating to make a point of, we conquered, we ruled, we broke their political power. They are no longer in charge. We are. Or if a king would be saying it in his records, I totally destroyed these people. Again, this is the part where when we read the scriptures, some people say, like, you need to read this literally. I say, no, we need to read the scriptures literarily, because there's lots of places in scripture where, some is poetic. We don't read that literally. No one actually suggests that, but we read it as a certain kind of literary genre, because we also understand culture. Song of Songs, when we get into that, is going to have some images that we go, you're describing this beautiful woman and you're talking about flocks of goats and teeth. It's part of the culture. The text here is emphasizing that these leaders of Israel didn't check with God to discern the story they were being told. They were distracted by the flattery. You guys are awesome. You guys are powerful. We've heard stories about you. They were told things they wanted to hear. Who doesn't like hearing? Most people like hearing, hey, good job. You guys are great. I really liked what you did there. But these leaders didn't check with God. Now, again, this is the interesting thing. It doesn't mean God would have said, no, don't make a treaty with his people and destroy them. But they wouldn't have fallen into potential missteps in obeying God. And so it just brings this kind of tension for us, is that sometimes we look at the outcomes to decide whether or not God was in it or not. That's wrong. What we want to be looking at is, what were we doing? What were our motives? Were we seeking God? Were we looking to be faithful? And faithful means listening to God, trusting God, obeying God. And the results, we leave to God. Sometimes good results happen. Sometimes they don't. Hebrews chapter 11 talks about these heroes of faith. Some were rescued. Some were sawn in half. All were faithful. And faithfulness is what God is looking for. So where have you been making decisions, or are you making decisions without God? Whatever the results might be, include him and allow his discernment to lead you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you today. And may you know his peace. God bless.